Hey, welcome to Vice Grip Garage. I'm Derek. A guy's in southeastern Florida, and in front of this vacant house here sits an abandoned car I just bought sight unseen. Not only have I never seen this car specifically before, I have never seen this maker model in person until today. Oh, rolled the ankle. This bad boy right here is a 1990 Cadillac Allante. Statistically speaking, you've never heard or seen one of these either, so don't feel bad, but there's a good reason. These are actually very rare. You see, GM Cadillac only produced these from about 1987 to 1993, and they ended up only making around 21,000 of these in total. So the chances of seeing one of these in the wild is very, very, very slim. Guys, being honest with you, I don't know something or nothing about these rigs, but after I made the deal on it, I had to figure out what it was, and it started to pique my interest more than Dolly Parton, I gotta be honest. So I really dug in. They're neat cars, actually. They went through some big changes, most notably the engine in this thing. This is the 4.5 liter 9-to-5 compression transverse V8 multi-port fuel injected with an automagical 4-speed transmission, which later switched to the infamous North Star. Well, let's just be glad we don't have that one, I guess. But the really cool part about this car is the body itself right here. That was actually produced in Italy, believe it or not, by a company called Pininfarina. They specialized in designing and manufacturing bodies for all sorts of makes and models, some of them of the likes of Ferrari and Maserati and Peugeot, and obviously GM. After these were built, they were shipped from Italy to the United States via specially designed 757 Boeing aircrafts, and that's where they were eventually mated with the Cadillac drivetrain, and voila, an Italian-inspired sports coupe. Well, they never really caught on. Cadillac wanted to compete with, you know, the Mercedes and the Jaguar two-door, hardtop, soft-top coupes of the day. It just, listen, these were really expensive. In fact, GM's most expensive car at the time. In today's money, this car right here is about $125,000. I'm not saying that's the reason they were nixed, but eventually they were on the chopping block and they disappeared after a dismal production run. And that is most likely why you've never seen one of these. Kind of looks like a two-door Eagle Premier, if I'm being honest. So realistically, here's where we're at. This car was really advanced for its time, and advanced is usually followed by wiring. And yes, this car is basically completely digital from bumper to bumper. Everything and anything in it, including the dashes and gauges and everything else. They actually had integrated cell phones already in 1991, believe it or not. Parts for this car are extremely hard to find. In fact, there's a very lucrative small niche of people that part these out, I found, on the gray web. So I'm finally going to do the right thing. No, I'm just gonna try to get it running and driving and attempt to drive this 1,000 miles home. It's either gonna be simple or severely painful. Great, let's do that. So now that you know a little bit about this car in general, I want to talk about this car specifically, and it has some really good history, and I want to share that. I want the history of cars to stay with the car. That's one of the reasons I do what I do. And this one has an exciting, fun, but also heartbreaking past with it. This is Cosmo Sr.'s car, and I purchased it from Cosmo Jr., so you can kind of figure out the backstory there. I don't want to talk too much about it. And this is Cosmo's home here. He was a car buff and just collected all sorts of stuff. In fact, right next to this was a Boss Hog Caddy and a Jaguar. And he had multiple other rigs. This car, the last time it was on the road, was beautiful, in impeccable condition. So nice, in fact, the story is that rolled across a Barrett-Jackson auction way back in 2015-ish, and Cosmo had to have it. He bid and won this car. He only put 300 to 400 miles on it and parked it right here with the car cover on it. And that is it. So, unfortunately, the top is, or the cover has just disintegrated and went into the earth. I can see that it's buffed the paint, and Florida sun and salt and everything else has got after it. But maybe I'll be able to research this enough to find what it used to look like back in the day. But nonetheless, it was loved. It was a sparkle in someone's eye. And Cosmo Jr. said, look, which I really, really respect and appreciate, I've got my cars from my dad that I want. This can't sit here and waste anymore. It's got to go to someone that can fix it up and enjoy it and understand what it is, face value. And I'll be your huckleberry. We're going to take care of this thing. Cosmo here. I don't know what we're going to do with it. I don't even know if the engine is free. I've never worked on one of these. I have no idea what we're doing. We are in absolute uncharted territory at this moment. But the story just, here we are. You guys wanted newer-ish, fuel-injected, digital stuff? So let's do a really quick walk around because I'm doing it with you. We got to figure out what we have, what's here, how it allegedly functions and works, and then we've got to dig in. Normally I say spark, fuel, compression, valve timing. That's the same here in theory, except there's a whole lot of relays and computers and doodads and whatnots in betwixt all of that. All right, let's start in the rear. We'll walk around it, see what we're working with. Cosmo's a Cadillac. So it's really hard to see in this lighting, but like I was talking about the car cover, yeah, you guys probably can't see it, but the paint is completely wrecked from car covers. Just doing this in the wind, it has just put some crazy marks through the clear coat, and in some cases all the way through the clear and paint to primer, which I'll show you in a little bit here. The plastics have cracked over the years. That wasn't there when it was purchased, obviously. I think these are from 89 to 91 or something like that. That might be a light. I really don't know. I tried to figure out what we're looking at before I got here, and resources are limited. Oh, fixed. Oh, maybe not. Tires are obviously shot. Surprisingly, not all the way on the rim, but they are very close. Cracked, checked up. Here's more of that top stuff. Maybe we could bring that around with the buffer. I don't know. There's not a single dent in this thing that I can see so far. There's the Pininfarina logo, the Italian body maker. I guess there is a little ding right there. Here's some clear coat, gone. I'm not sure when the cover disintegrated, what year that was. Clear coat peeling there. I'm just thinking about this car when it was brand new. It was probably the cat's meow. I'm just confused by the lack of rust and everything else, but I just know the other shoe's gonna drop and we have a tremendous amount of work to do. This must be the fuel door. I guess that's a hint where the fuel tank is, because I have no idea. I'm not sure what happened here. That almost looks like something hit it. This has been Ugh. That's been popped for a while. No idea how that works or if it works. But that is pretty much it for the exterior of the rig. I guess we can clamber in the trunk, see if we got any parts, doodads, whatnots, and then we'll move to the interior, check that out, and then we're gonna pop the hood and see what kind of nightmare we're in for. And then we just gotta dig in, start putting our heels in the dirt, see if we can get this thing fired up. A guy has ignition sticks, gold ones. There's actually a story to these, and it's really just a thank you to Cosmo Jr. After I bought the rig, he said, well, let me go track down the keys. I got to find those and see if I can find a title and all that. He found the keys, and he's like, good news, it's got ignition sticks. And then he looked close at them. They weren't even cut yet, meaning we had no keys for the rig. Now, that might not sound like a big deal, but this has the GM VAT system, Vehicle Anti-Theft System, and in the key is a little resistor. And if that doesn't match the value of the vehicle and the VIN number, the computer shuts off the starter and the fuel pump. You're stuck. This is going to be a make it or break it for us, because Cosmo had to file a bunch of paperwork, take a bunch of stuff to the dealership, have this specially made, scanned, beep booped, whatever. Allegedly, it's supposed to work for the car. I have no idea. If it doesn't, we're going to be trying to go around an entire anti-theft system, essentially stealing the car that I own. These keys that look like they're to a Yamaha houseboat are the door keys, because the guy that came to cut the key for the door had the shakes. That one doesn't work. Anyway, let's get in the trunk. I think you can, yeah, there's a key thing. Let's see what we got. Oh, we got stuff. Lots of stuff. I'll be dipped. Get over here and look at this. Woo, battery charger. Nice. So Cadillac luxury, fully carpeted. I mean, seamed up, everything. But we got stuff in here. Oh, that's full. Old-fashioned since 1984. I wonder if Cosmo was into, well, he had to have been, into collectibles and dairy. Levers, dairy. That's cool, that can go in the museum. Look at this. Buddy and the Cruisers, second place car trophy. Oh, the date thing is snapped off. Might be in here somewhere. Allante. Old auction. Well, here you go. Auction prices 2012 and 2013. Black and white photos. Boy, the paint looks good on that, allegedly. Ooh, that's a 23 Buick. But anyway, that's pretty cool. There's the Barrett-Jackson plate. That's probably the lot number that was on this rig, I would assume. Really old school. Boy, am I glad to see this. Sears battery charger. That's worth its weight in gold. Oh, it's already started. 3 relays and 3 fuses. Is that an antenna? Yep, got an antenna. That must be for stuff. I don't know what that's for. We got a, is this a car cover? This couldn't be the one that was on it. Maybe. Oh, we got a book. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're gonna need to blur that out. 1998. I'm not gonna flip through it. That's we'll just say that's a gentleman's book. Okay. All right, well there's our trunk. True car guy trunk. Trophies, books, antiques, and a battery charger. What else does a guy need, really? Actually, a really luxurious trunk. You can still see some vacuum marks in this thing. I mean, he really did buy, look at this. That's a fresh detail from whatever, 10, 12 years ago, still on the carpet. Pretty wild. Let's get on the inside. All right, let's pop in this thing. It looks pretty juicy. Oh, wow. I don't want to break the key. It's stiffer than an Applebee's steak. Ah! Ha! Ooh. Oh, is there a root beer party in here? What's going on? Oh. Oh. Okay. All right. All right, I'm ready now. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a Flying J urinal cake smeared with hot rhubarb pie. It's enticing, tantalizing, but confusing. But ultimately dangerous. I need to sneeze. Wow. Let's let that just, we need some fresh air in that bad boy. Gotta let her air out a little bit. I mean, it's hot and humid and smelly like a Motel 6 hot tub at 2 a.m. It's not good. But here it is. See, this is weird, like the root beer bath. I don't know if it's chemicals or glues from like the trim and wheel and stuff. I don't know. But there's no way it was sold like that. Look at the mold built up there. Buttons, 80s buttons. Oh, I already broke that one. Okay, new plan. Let's not touch buttons until it runs. Okay? Okay. This would have been luxurious, brand new leather seating. By the way, I am told this car has a documented 25,000 miles on it. 25,000 miles. I guess we're gonna find out. That's been busted open. That's kind of weird though. It's got a Firebird Camaro pedal, standard GM anti-lock brake system brake pedal. This is missing, which would be weird for that low of a mile car, although getting in and out maybe. I don't know, the New Balances might have snagged it. You know, it's hard to say. I guess it'd be Reeboks back then. What is it? Oh, I actually know what that is. That is the plate that goes here for the top. But you can kind of see the European-inspired luxury. Let's get in it. So here's your controls look. With any luck, this is going to change. This will all be lit up. It's digital. There's a really neat compass-looking tack and speedo from what I've seen on the line. It was all driver-faced controls. So I've got electronic climate control driver information center, symphony sound. Look at this. They got the bass button right here for you. Warren G would probably own one of these, I would guess. Compact disc player and a tape player. They were right in betwixt the change. So you could do either. What other car has this right in the front? There's some with tape in the front, but the CD changers in the rear. This is fancy. Wiper control. Of course, it's got cruise control. Interior light, Twilight Sensationals. What is that? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. Some sort of white, dangerous mold growing on that. Perfect. We've got a box of wipes that is deteriorated. Some sort of leather conditioner that seemed to condition really well. And then a Black & Decker charger thing from the 80s that probably didn't charge anything at all. Okay, that is low mileage. That is never smoked in. That might lit a cigar or two maybe. Or hard to say, we're in Florida, so could be rust, scale. That flips up. Oh, there we go. Registration from 2012. They'll change things. Huh. Okay, this is important to remember. What is this? I wonder if that's the top. Fuel door, trunk. I don't know, we're just kind of learning as we go here. Oh, no way! Check this out. Barrett-Jackson bitter. I shook some stuff out, I think. Ha! There's Cosmo. It doesn't have his personal information. I'm actually going to show that just so we can see the original owner of the rig. There's his bidder card. That is really cool. That's got to stay with the car. That little devil was there all 3 days. Look at that. 4 times, 3 times, 4 times. I'm going to put that back together and stick it in the glove box. We got the owner's manual. It was open to the table of contents. That's it. That's his insurance information. That's probably got all of his personal stuff, so we won't show that. That's really cool. I love that. It's got history. There's the Pininfarina badge on the inside as well. I mean, that's really it. Just a little 2-door coupe thing. I'm excited to get a battery in this and see what that does, if it even lights up, and what the mileage says. So I have to thank Cosmo Jr. He actually went back and did a bunch of research for me during the sale process, and he did find where this was sold. And the listing stated less than 26,000 original miles through Barrett-Jackson. Now, these big auction houses, they verify the VIN numbers, all of that, mileage. They go through them to make sure they're legit because, you know, they don't want egg on their face, right? The question really is, allegedly, he drove 300 to 400 miles and parked the thing. Is that really true, or did he daily this thing? We don't know. So we're going to have to wait and see until we get a battery in this, fired up, and see what the mileage is. It's just exciting to know that this could be one of the lower mileage cars in existence as far as a Cadillac Alante goes. And then we'll really have to bring her back around. Unfortunately, this one, you know, just sat outside in the beating sun for too long. It's not too far gone though. Well, we've done a lot worse, but anyway, let's pop the hood. I think that's this. I heard a noise. Let's see what we got under there. Super excited. Behind the guy over here, you'll see some stuff that Junior set out for me. Big old Mile Sucker 500. Air compressor, snape on, battery jumper and a jack. And then those are the tires that I sent ahead. We're obviously gonna need those. Let me open this. Is there an app? Oh, here we are. Oh. Oh boy. Oh. Why is there so much plastic? There's so much plastic and tubes and pipes. What does that do? I don't know. This? Not sure. Oh my goodness. No. Speed dependent dampening. These adjust your ride comfort based on speed. We're never getting out of this driveway, are we? Well, there's an old Bronco back there. Maybe we'll take that for a rip. Well, I've regurgitated twice. And, you know, yeah. So, okay. Yes. Some sort of pack rat or mouse or something. All the rubber is shot. The belt doesn't look very belty. somehow is rusted. The belt is rusty. Seems fine. We can see an injector per cylinder. Bunch of different sensors and doodads and stuff, and there's a motor thingy with something that does things, and there's computers. And where's the battery actually? Is there no battery up here? I don't remember seeing it in the trunk. Huh. Oh, this is nice. Green. Engine coolant. Don't see it. Power steering. Ah. Yellow. Engine oil. I don't think I've ever seen that before. It's like a dummy guide. Pretty slick. Pretty slick. Well, anyway, this is what we got in this thing. Is that an HEI? No way. Oh, it is. Old school HEI on a 1990. Okay, that I feel comfortable with, but I'm sure it's got computer controlled timing, maybe. We'll have to pop that open. Fuel pressure regulator, throttle position sensor. It's going to have an O2 sensor. It's going to have a crank sensor or a cam sensor somewhere. This brake system, if the brakes don't work, we are done. So why don't we just start there? So like a guy was saying, the brake system in this might as well be the dashboard of the Apollo 11. There's just, no one knows how to work it, and there's house switches involved. So let me just jump in, hit the brake pedal. Please let there be some sort of affirmation of brakes at all. And then we're going to move on to seeing if this thing rotates. But that's a big process because we don't want to run the pump, which may potentially work, probably not. Or fire the injectors. So there's digital stuff there. It's a whole different ballgame. And it's the 9th inning. Okay, I don't know what that meant. Let's try the brakes. All right, throttle. That seems to be all right. Okay, brake. It's coming back. Farther. Oh, there was a chunky spot. It got stuck. There it came back. It had a ridge in it, but it came back. It's spongy at best. Oh, let's just hope that the brakes work. Well, I think we're going to call that good enough for now. We'll circle back around to it. It didn't stick to the floor. I didn't hear any lines breaking or anything like that. It came back. So let's move on to the engine. So now that we officially tested the brakes, which didn't confirm anything other than the pedal returns and it drank a bunch of fluid, we're going to move on to the engine, because that's more so what we need than breakage to get back home. Now, I studied this for a couple of minutes, and here's the plan. I don't have one. So I can't get a wrench on the crank because it's sideways in here. I think you got to come up from the bottom and remove the entire suspension. I also don't know where the battery is, so I think we can hit 2 coyotes with 4 logs. If we just try to figure out where the battery is, replace that, we can see if the key is actually going to turn the ignition on, if it's going to actually turn off the security, huge deal, and 3, if it will rotate the engine via the relays and wiring and whatnots and wherever the starter is on this. It's not under the intake, thankfully, like a North Star, all in one shot. But we can't do any of that until we unhook the fuel pump somehow, and probably injectors, because there's going to be some fuel in the rails, which is just going to be nasty. I don't want to drive varnished bad fuel through these injectors. Then we have a huge ordeal. We're tearing this thing way down, getting way into it. My plan is to separate the tank and fuel pump, try to flush the lines, put fresh fuel in it, and force whatever is left sitting in the injector cups through the injectors, followed by fresh fuel and injector cleaner, and hopefully it's just gonna science itself out of it. So we got to find the battery, we got to find fuse panels. There was a book in the glove box. Let me lean on that, see if we could figure out how to unplug the fuel pump or the injectors or both, and we'll crank this thing, see what we got. Did you know that Cadillac is the French military commander who founded the city of Detroit in 1701? Yeah, Antoine de la Mothe Cadillac. I don't know. Is there a thesaurus or something? How do we find what we're doing here? There we go. Well, here's what the dash is supposed to look like, which is really cool. It's all digital. Actually, I think it's this one. I don't know why they show different ones, but we'll see. Looking forward to seeing the mileage. Trying to find a fuse relay kind of thing. I don't think that's going to be in this particular book, unfortunately. I think we are on our own. So let's just dig in. Let's get back into the trunk. Look there. Look at that. Original spare tire-age. The actual Allante cover direction thing. There's the parts identification sticker. It's got the jack and handle and everything in it, but no battery. So I'm wondering if it's like a Cadillac or a Corvette where it's behind the seats. Well, it has started to rain, but we're going to keep working as long as we can. Found the battery behind the drinker's side here. An old interstate and a bunch of red painted bolts. Another motor thing. There's some relays and stuff back in there. I really don't know what I'm looking at, but let's get this out. And before we put a fresh one in, I need to find the fuse panel. All right. Kind of searched around the battery here. There's some relays, a motor. I'm not seeing a fuse panel, but I'm going to try to get this lightning cube all the way out of the way, and then we'll take a look. I just got to get this clamp later off right there. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Ooh. Okay. Well, all right. Well, after a huge search through the vehicle, I found the fuse block. It's literally below the ashtray, which is probably why all this stuff was loose. I don't know if someone's messed around with this before or what, but now I got to figure out what all of this means. The goal would be to pull the fuel pump relay or fuel pump fuse and injector fuses out of this before we put a battery in it to turn the key to see if anything lights up and also crank the engine. So give me a few minutes, might have to do some research. Got to figure this out. Well, updates. I found, I believe, as ants are crawling through this, completely covered in this vehicle. Also little geckos or lizards are everywhere. Might have to take some home. These are, I guess, the fuel injectors. They have banks, bank 1 and 2, which I believe is 4 and 5 based on what I could find. But I'm not finding a fuel pump relay in this panel here. This seems to be more body control stuff, like gauges, lights, releases, latches, stuff like that, versus powertrain. So there's got to be another panel. I remembered I saw one in the trunk. Let's see what that does. Okay, I was able to find on the line. This is normal, there's not one missing, there's just 3. These are all marker side lights. Basically the exterior lighting package is back here for some reason. Was not able to find what all of these different relays and connectors do, however. So that's really cool and reassuring. Well, the guy's gonna go on ahead and shoot you straight here. There's not a lot of information out on these rigs, and what I can find is just, you know, it varies so greatly. There's a relay under the fender skirt, behind the tire, in the washer bottle. Look under the intake, it's under the seat. Look under the glove box, it's under the top thing. No, it's not. But I was able to pull the fuses for the injectors. I'm hoping that prohibits the injectors from firing, but that does not mean the pump's not going to pump. So what I'm going to do as a fail-safe or backup is I'm actually going to disconnect the line to the pressure regulator, which is right here. So if the pump runs, it's just going to pour fuel into this mouse nest so we can later on burn this thing down, essentially. But that way, we're not pumping sediment and junk into the injectors, and I'm confident the tank, pretty confident, like 89%, that the tank is junk, and probably the pump, because right here where you can see a vehicle outline, and over here, well, latter day, there used to be a vehicle as well. This was a Jaguar, and its tank was full of Florida sand, varnish, junk, needed a total rebuild, and it sat the same amount of time as this. So we can assume, right, we're in for the same. But anyway, let's knock that loose and then we'll see what we got. Oh, that was fairly loose. Nice. We're gonna plug the filter up. I did buy one of those already. I figured undoubtedly we're going to need that at minimum. So I can't fit my hands into nothing. Ouch. Boy, big respect for those that were out of techs in the 80s and 90s, because there was a lot of weird stuff coming out. And I'm sure they got a service bulletin on a Monday and they were working on it on a Friday. I can't even get this disconnected. Well, for Pete's sake, I've never seen such a Mickey Mouse operation in my life. I think this is just a sign of what's to come. It's not good. It's really not good. Fuel line disconnected. Let's throw a battery in it. Alantes need a specific battery. Nope. This one here just, you know, it has a go handle. And the posts are on the right. They're on the right side, so that's pretty good. Wow. There we go. I packed some wrist ruiners, digital wrists, and some basic tools, and I stopped and got some junk jack stands and a jack. That's pretty much what I'm working with here. That's in. Now that the battery's in, let's see if we can crank this thing over, make sure the engine's not locked, the starter works, the ignition works, and most importantly, that. Whether it does or doesn't, big thank you to Cosmo Jr. for helping me out. This has a resistor built into the key. Let's hope it works. Well, I can't see nothing. How do you... Okay, key forward. Oh, it went off. Oh, look at the gauges. Okay, that is actually really, really cool. Oh, it works. Let me shift. Yes. Looks like a fighter jet or something. Oh my goodness. 25,874 confirmed miles. So that makes it official. This is one of the lowest miles Alante on the planet. This lit up. Low brake fluid, we know that already, because I was pumping on it. Lamp is out, change engine oil. Anti-lock disabled, probably because of the brake fluid. Traction disabled. Oh boy. Fuel level, very low. Okay. And then it just repeats. Radio? I heard the antenna go up. Nothing. Well, that's too bad. Maybe we'll find a compact disc. Anyway, key on. I didn't hear the pump run. Let's crank. Come on. Yes. It's definitely got a gallop, but it is cranking. Oh, thank goodness. But wait. Theft system armed, key on. Okay, it does turn off. So this should be a cause for a huge celebration, but it just brings more concern. The engine rotates, albeit with a gallop, which is fine. We'll deal with that later. But that's all great news. But I did not hear a fuel pump or any sort of electronics running at all. We did pull fuses for, I don't know where I put them, they're somewhere, for the injector banks, but I did not unhook the fuel pump in any way, so that should have ran. So it's a 50-50 shot. 50% is the pump is just bad, likely. The other 50% is the VATS, security system, shut it off, likely. The other 23% is everything's just junk. And I'm renting a car to get home. Likely. Well, the rig cranks, which is great news, but that's a very small ingredient in what we need today to make this thing run. Belt stayed on, cool. There's really nothing else to look at here or check. I mean, as far as spark or anything else or any of the sensors, until we can get fuel to the fuel rails, and obviously we have none. I don't know if that's the pump itself, the relay, the wiring, filter, or lines. We're gonna find out. We're gonna start by dropping the fuel tank in this thing, which I have no idea what it looks like or how to remove it. It's gotta be somewhere here to here based on that. We're gonna replace the pump, inspect the wiring, check for digital connection, power, all of that stuff, and then move from that point forward. I'm hoping spark won't be an issue. We've got a high energy ignition system in here. I feel pretty confident on that. I'm more worried about fuel pressure, fuel injectors, and all of the digital beep boops to make the beep boop bop it. You know. Here's my view from the rear. Got to try to find some sort of cross member or something back here on the transaxle or something to lift this up and get some jack stands in here. I think the tank, based on what I'm seeing, and the filler neck location is pretty much right behind the seats. Well, I somehow fought a jack-o'-lazar under the muffler here, using this sunshade as a creeper. I think I found something sturdy-ish. We're gonna try to get this as far as I can into the air, then get some jack stands under it. We're gonna take a look under this. I have a feeling it's gonna be really corroded, rusted, you name it. Florida is just as damaging as the salt states, if not more. Rears are off, that's a good sign. Guy needs to slide his belly under here. Hopefully I don't have to hold my breath. see something that looks like a tank. Oh, is that plastic? No. Maybe. I thought they went to steel tanks in 90. Or were still steel tanks. I think they went to plastic after that. North Star stuff. Anyway, let me get some stands. I'll start doing the dance. Kind of just looking under here, setting up stands and whatnot. Noticed a factory sticker, which must be a monolith rear end setup, similar to the Corvettes, and it is. But man, this thing is pretty clean. I haven't touched the tank. I'm hoping that's plastic and not steel, but I haven't been able to reach it yet. I'm gonna try to get this a little bit higher if I can, because we got quite a bit of work to do. Not so much here, but here. Well, I think that should work-ish. I left the jack under the back so emergency personnel can drag my body out pretty quickly. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm looking at. I don't know what to expect. I don't know the connections or where the lines are or how anything connects or the beep boops and whatnots. But end of day, that tank is coming out. It needs to be flushed. Old pump comes out, new pump goes in, and it goes back in the car. If we can do that today, I'm gonna feel pretty good. Well, welcome to my view. Pretty awesome, huh? This is the tank. We're laying on our back. We got some stabilizers. That must be the connector for the fuel pump itself, which would be power, ground, and fuel sending unit or your fuel level. We've got what looks like 13 to 15 millimeter bolts up here. There's probably some down there. Here is the filter. Oh, why there's no room? It's probably return, and then feed is up here. But we've got fittings here and here, so we got to take those off. And then we're going to have a filler neck somewhere up in there, which we can't even see right now. So I'm going to do the right thing and just start hitting anything with a bolt head with an impact. And we'll just kind of see what happens and work our way through this. I have never removed one of these tanks. Zero idea what we're in for. Fuel tank capacity holder is out. Wasn't too bad. There was 37 electrical connections, and this thing's got more pipes than a Catholic church, but we got her out. All of these here, all of these here. Surprisingly not too bad for Florida. The fittings came right off with just some heft, you know what I mean? The digital connections all had like a safety lock seal thing in it, which I imagine is factory. So either it's never ever had a pump, or someone was super careful and articulate replacing it. I'm gonna go with the first one, I guess. Here's the original GM sticker. There's the original GM sticker on the tank. That's pretty cool. It got some paddleizers, everything else. I mean, you know, I think they went to a plastic tank when they switched to the North Star. I really, really, really hope this is not rusted, because you cannot find these tanks. If you interweb them, there's many sites that say they have them, and then it's like for a commercial chassis or a DeVille or something like that. It's not this tank. Trust me, I've searched and looked and searched and looked under. So we're going to knock this lock ring around, pull this out. It should have a pump hanging with a pickup sock and a fuel float or gauge lever device in there, and hopefully the tank's in good shape. The pump's just bad. We'll see. All right, let's see. Get my hammer out. Wow, that moved easy. There we go. Oh, varnish just kicked out of here like crazy. Oh, wow. Yeah. We're gonna have rust. Oh yeah, we're gonna have rust. Yep. Okay. So here's our first look at the pump. You can see the varnish fuel. It looks like deck stain. This is the fuel sending unit, which never would have worked. It's too stiff. It's not going to float. This just measures resistance, basically. This is the anti-wobble bobble. It shuts down the pulsing of the pump, just dampens it, basically. Here's the pump itself. Pickup sock, which isn't plugged yet. This is return. Another return. Actually, that's vent. Return. That's evap. And then we've got feed there, pretty much. That's it. Oof, May, that does not look good. It does have a plastic like anti-slosh, but look at that, big chunks. So a guy's thankful. There's an EPA approved and certified recycle center right here on site that I have permission to use. So I'm going to slosh that tank out, put some fresh fuel in, slosh it around again, mix it up, dump it out, keep repeating that process until we have nice fresh fuel in the tank, and then we'll start on cleaning up the apparatus and whatnot. I've got to go get fuel, a wire brush, probably some brake cleaner to clean all that stuff and do the said before mentioned. So I'll be back here shortly. Well, I got updates. A guy has been cleaning and scrubbing and preparing. This is where I'm at. I've got the tank emptied out as best as I can. There still, unfortunately, is rust and chunks in various pockets in this thing. It's got like a plastic anti-slosh basket or something in it, and there's fuel and debris below that, and I can't for the life of me figure out how to get that out of this tank. So I guess that's just where it lives. I've been wire brushing and cleaning this with brake juice and other things like that. I have to hit this with some PB Blaster or something. It's really, really stiff. Fuel gauges are nice on really, really long trips. And this is the pump here. I wonder why that didn't work. Geez, I wonder. So that's trash. This and this I have to try to keep. I don't know if the new pump came with that. I didn't even open it up. This is the cheapest pump I could find on the interwebs. You said new pump. Great, sure. We're going to try to use that. This is the O-ring that goes under here. The one that came off of that was obviously shot. And then this is the fuel filter. I went ahead and grabbed a Wix because, you know, we want our filter to filter. So that's that. And then this is what's called a pulsator. And that's this piece right here. It goes between the pipe and the pump. And just dampens the clicking, you know, the clicky-clacky sound. This just quiets that down. Now, if you don't have one of these or don't want to run it, just a piece of rubber hose connected to that, you're going to do just fine. This is Italian. Notice the pinky. Sports car stuff. This guy right here. But I happen to find one. This is about all the parts I could get. So let's hope it works. Just going to do quick reassembly, throw all this back together, toss that back into the tank. And now that this is empty, it had probably, I don't know, 5 to 6 gallons in it. It should be a little bit easier to hoof back into the car there. Just showing you here the ping pong fuel pump did come with the isolator gasket thing, but this right here is that piece I was talking about. If you don't want to run the pulsator, just throw that in its place. But we'll get this thing in there and then we'll be all good, allegedly. Well, I think we're fully assembled and maintenanced. We're gonna go with that. Got her pretty clean. I flushed the lines out, all of the lines, with brake clean. Got a bunch of varnish stuff out, which you could see allegedly kind of stained this nice quartz or whatever this is. Cleaning. Oh, I'm out. Darn it. And then I also fixed, I think, the armature on this. I filed it up, and now it actually moves. So we might have a shot at a fuel gauge, which would be nice with a 1,000-mile trip. So anyway, no magic here, just got to pop this O-ring on, drop it in the tank, lock it down, slide it under the car, and then we'll start the process of just getting all of the pipes and hoses and doodads and whatnots back to where they're supposed to be. And in conjunction with that, new fill tray. Sweet. So guys, over here on the drinker side, I've got my probe I brought with me hooked up, grounded to the tank. I just want to test this connector, the wiring or the harness essentially, and the pump before we throw this into the car and then have to take it out again. So if I touch this little guy, by the way, a fan sent me this, and thank you so much. I've never had one of these until recently. The green tells us we have a circuit, and if I hit up, it's going to send 12 volts. We should hear that pump. Yep, there it goes. Of course, there's no fuel in it, so it's not going to do anything. But pump is running. So connector, wiring, pump, we didn't mess anything up inside the tank. The tank housing is grounding to the tank itself through this, which you can see there. So we're good. All right, pulled the tank out, flushed it. Took the old pump out, new pump in. Tested the ping pong pump, all the wiring connections, that was good. Put all the new doodads, whatnot, gaskets in. New fill tray. Put everything back as a ridge as I found it. Now I'm dumping in some 93 here. This is a 9.5-to-1 compression, 4.5 litre engine. Requires high octaneous. So that's what I'm dumping in. After this, we're gonna see if the engine control computer beep bop box thingy that does the DOS or whatever is still functional. I rotate the key forward, it should prime the fuel pump. 3 to 5 seconds, should build pressure at the rail. I have that unhooked at the regulator in hopes that we can flush the line with this corn fuel. If we can get fuel to the line, we'll hook that up and we're going to check fuel pressure. Make sure the regulator is working correctly. And then we should have a fuel system. The big burning question is, are the injectors plugged or stuck after sitting this long? I will tell you this, I've had Terminator broccoli injection systems get plugged up after 3 years, 4 years. This has been, what did we figure, 9 to 11, somewhere around there, minimum. So who knows? Who really knows? That's the question. All right, we got 5 gallons in it. Key on. Ooh, I don't hear a fuel pump. That's not good. Oh, I do. I do hear a fuel pump. Boy, the gauges look even better at night. I'm gonna rock this a few times. It's gonna take a while to fill the filter and the lines. It's not doing it anymore. Computer says no more. Headlights auto-magically came on. That's a great sign. Means we could travel at night. Oh, we got tail lips too. Still no fuel though. I've rocked the key a few times. There it is again. All sorts of noises. Some sort of knocking noise. All right, we've got fuel. The weird noise was the regulator waking up, and we've got fuel pouring out of here. It looks fairly cleanish. So now I can try to hook that line back up, and then we are going to measure the fuel pressure on this bad boy and make sure the rails are getting what they need to fire these injectors correctly. Well, a guy has lost light, and man, I've been fighting this little fitting right here. I just could not get it started. and I've lost daylight. It's, you know, dark is upon us. I'm gonna button this up, and we're probably drawing close to the end of day 1. But fuel system should be complete. I still want to try to test it quick, pressure-wise, as long as we have enough light to read the gauge. I stopped at Hobo Junk and got some junk, so it'll read inaccurately, but maybe we could feel somewhat good about it when I'm finished. Well, it's raining like crazy. I am still fighting this fitting. I can't believe it, but I'm looking right at it. Just gonna hang out here for a minute, I guess. Well, I've been sitting here waiting, and it's just absolutely downpouring, and the radar does not look good. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and scoot to the motel, catch a few hours of sleep. We'll be back here bright and early tomorrow morning. We gotta finish our fuel system. Check fuel pressure, crank it, dive into spark, see if we can get this thing to fire off. I have a feeling it's not going to be as easy as we hoped, but fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. We'll see you guys in the morning. Well, good morning. Tip of the cup to you. Well, we're trying to get this 9-day Alante fired up here in Florida. Last night the rain just would not let up. I tried to wait it out, wasn't happening. Today we're getting a late start, unfortunately. Same thing, it rained all through the night, heavy again this morning. We're just gonna have to try to work around it best we can. I want to finish up the fuel system, well, minus the injectors. By that I mean pump, filter, lines, regulator. We have the correct pressure, so we could check that off. Guy's gonna have to systematically go through this and make sure everything is working in harmony. It's not just like a dump fuel down a carb and it fires up. We also have 2 security systems on this car, injectors, all that stuff. I don't know. The other thing I'm going to do this morning is, since the back end's already jacked up, I'm going to take those tires off, run them to a tire store. I got a stack of tires over here I mailed ahead. Get 2 put on either end or way. This has got to be towed, hauled, pulled, something home. So I need good rubber on it. While I'm out, I'm going to try to find something called a Noid tester, because we're going to be jumping into injectors and injector harnesses and wiring necks and computers. I'm going to need some tools more than my leather person. You know what I mean? Also going to grab some more gas and brake juice, because every time I turn the key on, it's yelling at me, there's no brakes. I'm like, I know. I'm used to it. You know what I mean? Well, a guy popped the hubcaps off to get the tires off, and there is a lock on both back tires. I would assume the front as well. I just dug through the car again. It's not in there. So now I got to try to find that lock at some hardware store before we can even get to that process. So off we go. Let's run around, get some stuff. Well, I'm back running around, got some fuel, a couple different tools. I did find a Noid tester, which I'll show you here in a little bit, and wheeled over this Snape-on battery charger. I accidentally left the key on all night, and we're going to be cranking this thing quite a bit here pretty soon, I have a feeling. So we're going to need that. So let's finish off the fuel. We're going to hook this up. This is just a pressure tester. There's a Schrader valve right down here. It's very similar to a valve that's in your tire, for example. But we can't use just a standard pressure gauge. It's got to be one of these. And this has a bleed off. So when I hit that button, the excess fuel will just come out this drain tube, essentially. So we'll get this plugged in. And we just want to verify that the pump we put in and everything from there forward is producing the pressure it's supposed to by the book. Got the pressure gauge on here. Before we start cranking on this, going to check the oil. Whoa, a little bit overfull actually. Oil looks really clean. Really clean. It was probably changed right before I went to that auction, I would imagine. Okay, now we're just going to rock the key and we're going to see what kind of pressure we can get out of this gauge. Book says 38. We hope to get somewhere in that vicinity. Okay, you watch the gauge. I'm gonna twist the key. We should see that pressure jump. What do we got? Talk to me, Goose. Well, you were correct. We've got right at 38 pounds, pretty much perfect. So that's great news. The ping pong pump is working. We don't have any restrictions. Fuel filtre is doing its thing. We got the correct pressure at the rail. So fuel-wise, now it comes down to the computer, wiring, pulse, and injectors. But before we move into all of that madness, something just made some noises in here. Oh, I think it's this brake. I better put some juice in here. Let's go ahead and test spark. I think that's another thing we can quickly cross off the list. I had to take the lightning hose ring off anyway to fit the hose in here. So let's pull one of those off. Get this out of the way. All right. Juice. Okay. Is that doing something? Yeah, there we go. Some sort of crazy alien brake system. I really hope we don't have to get into any of that mess. My goodness. Pedal returned, but that doesn't mean it's actually working or doing anything. Am I in the rainforest? I kind of like it. It's different than just dogs barking in the Midwest and stuff like that. All right, I'm gonna get my sparkleizer tester 200 out. You've seen it before. It's very universal. It'll work here. Gonna keep filling this off and on. It's going somewhere. I don't know. Hopefully we don't have a big leak. But anywho, I got the sparkle tester in here. This is just a really easy, fast way to tell if we've got spark. You guys are gonna watch that light bulb for me. It should blink when we crank this thing over. Who knows? It might just fire right up. Hard to say. We don't have any fuel leaks or anything like that. Haven't really touched anything else at all. So let's crank it, see if it fires, see if that blinks. I don't know what's gonna happen. All right, first thing, let's check this brake pedal now. Oh yeah, way better. If we got brakes, that'll be a win. All right, you watch that light. Should flash every time that cylinder is supposed to fire. Or maybe this just starts. Is it in park? Yes. Well, it ain't starting, that's for sure. But did the beep boop flash? Oh, it did. Good. Hey, we got spark. We've got fuel pressure, we got spark. We got no run. That's not good, actually. Well, we're gonna have to start taking some big swings here to get this figured out. Moving up or down the ladder, depending on how you look at it, diagnosing this thing. We've got pressure at the rail, we've got spark, but it's not running. So the issue is going to be the fuel injectors or the fuel injector wiring, AKA, and also IE computer. Somewhere in there is going to be the problem. Now to just double, triply, quadruply check, confirm that, what I'm going to do is something I really, really dislike doing. I'm going to open the air box up, spray some flammable fluid in this engine. I want to hear it run, even if just for 2 seconds. Make sure that there's not a rod hanging out of the thing or whatever else. And also that'll confirm, hey, the thing will run, the injectors just aren't firing for whatever reason. And that's a whole nother gamut we're gonna have to talk about. So let's do that really quick. I got some spray here. Let's spray it down, crank it over, see if we can hear this thing fire. All right. Drink up, little buddy. That seems like way too much. Perfect. All right, let's crank it. Yep. It did bark for a second there. Sounded good, actually. I had a throaty roar. Try it one one more time. There it fired. Huh. Not enough or too much. Fired better the first time. Maybe I've flooded it now. Can't be. Well, maybe. Why don't I take this air box all the way off? I feel like we're headed there anyway. Worst case scenario, we're putting injectors in this thing. And that is a process. Just by looking at this. Oh, it was all sitting in the... It was all sitting in the boot here. There's a vacuum leak I just found. It's severely flooded. Oh, that's all the... What was that? Is that water? Boy, I should have checked that before I was cranking on this. My bad. Well, let's try it now. Give her a little spritz. Oh, I don't like doing this. Yep. Okay, she's a runner. Yes, that's great news. Great news, not so good news, more gooderish news. That was painful, but nonetheless, we heard the thing run. Someone just opened a septic tank? Oh, we're in Florida, that's normal. Anyway, now we've got to talk about troubleshooting the wiring and the injectors. And well, that's a deep subject. Sorry about that one. First, I'm gonna run the mouse sucker through here, clean a bunch of this stuff up, and then we're gonna do some tests here, and then we'll do a deep dive into these injectors. Fun, great, nope. Wonder what Mark Chestnut's doing today. I really need compressed air more than anything. Someone's really packing away the stuff. So this right here is a Noid light set or test kit. I just went ahead and rentalized this from O'Reilly, which means, and I own it because it's probably never going to find its way back. But these are all labeled, you know, TBI, Ford TBI, Bosch, whatever. I grabbed out the PFI. And all this is a light, specially designed for injector harness circuits. So all we have to do is come over here. I already unplugged this injector. We put this light in here. We crank it over, and if that flashes, what that tells us is the computer is pulsing the injectors correctly, and that the wiring from the computer to at least to that injector is in fact intact. More so for me, I'm confirming that the computer understands it needs to be pulsing these injectors, and that the VATs, remember we have the key issue or concern still, is that actually turning off the VAT system, the vehicle anti-theft system. No one really knows on the Alantes. Does it just shut off the fuel pump and or the injectors, or just the injectors? Mystery. So we need to see that bulb pulse, and that'll be a huge, huge sigh of relief. That's going to confirm the computer and the key and our security system all in one swoop. So you're going to stand out here in the rain again and watch that little light bulb, and if all goes well, we're going to see that thing flash. Those bulbs are a very dim, they're a low resistance bulb made for the circuits, right? They're not a big bright LED, for example. So I got you hidden under the air filtre. So hopefully you can see this thing. You guys let me know. I can't see nothing. Well, you got me just on the eggshells. Yes. It's flashing. Okay. VATS, the key is working. Oh, big thank you to Cosmo for figuring that out. Getting that key cut. The computer knows what it's supposed to do. It's flashing the injectors. So now we've boiled it down to, we've probably most likely have a injector issue. There's a mechanical side to an injector and an electro-digital side to an injector. Let's dig into that. Well, we are nearing the end of our diagnostical journey here. I do have a multimeter laid out here. Everything is pointing towards the injectors, but there's a couple more things that we can do to verify that. And I want to spend a few more minutes kind of deep diving on injectors rather than just tell you fellers and fellas, hey, the injectors are bad and throw a parts cannon at it. Well, why? How did I arrive at that conclusion? How do they work? What does it mean? How do we test them? Let's just go through it quick. I want to do it myself to verify because this is a huge undertaking, swapping injectors in a driveway under a canopy in a rainstorm. So I mentioned a forehand. This is how I look at it anyway. I always try to break things down and make them simple. An injector is really two parts for me. There's a physical side of it and a electro-digital side. The physical side, well, think of it like a carburetor needle in seat. It's a two-piece orifice that allows fuel in and is able to shut it off, right? Fuel in, fuel off. Well, an injector, you basically have the same shuttle or device practice and principle in there. There's a device or shuttle that opens and closes rapidly, allowing pressurized fuel into the injector, which goes into the nozzle and sprays a pattern of fuel in the combustion chamber. That's its duty. Well, bad fuel, debris, wear, age, sitting for a decade with ethanol fuel, that shuttle can get gummed up and physically stuck. And it's a physical aspect that actually makes the injector inop. Now, there is also a solenoid in that injector. Yeah, that's why the body is kind of big and barreled. There's electricity in that bad boy, and that's what the wiring is, obviously. And that pulse fires that solenoid and tells that shuttle to move, okay? So it's kind of a two-part partnership. Solenoid says, hey, thing, you need to open. Thing says, okay, open. Psh, fuel comes in, bingo, bango. Well, that solenoid can fail over time. It could short out, it could fail, it could get weak, etc., etc. Now, the 87 to 88 Alantros, what is this? Cadillac, had a 4.1 liter and used a different style injector. They weren't really necessarily harmed with what I'm about to talk about. And then, of course, you have this era. It was suspect to ethanol fuel, and then this 4.5 was replaced with the North Star, and that had a different injector. The 89 to 92s, I guess they would be, right, had the 4.5, and this particular injector has a pot metal in the solenoid, and it has been proven that ethanol fuel eats away at these injectors as they sit, and they could fail very prematurely, just from sitting, over time. It's all over the map, but nonetheless, that ethanol fuel eats away at the electronics on the inside of the injector. So we kind of have two things working against us. This is the era of injectors that don't like sitting with ethanol fuel. Well, bingo, checkpoint. And the physical side just gumming up with ethanol fuel sitting for long periods of time. Checkpoint. So what we're going to do is run a meter across these and actually ohm them out. There are a lot of different ways to test an injector. Unfortunately, we can really only do one in the car. The rest needs to be done on a flow bench. I've got a cheat sheet here. They check things like fuel pressure, supply voltage, frequency, pulse width, leak down test, pattern, coil resistance, and static flow rate. We're really only going to be able to test the coil resistance in here, and that'll give us another indication. Now, if they come back good, that doesn't mean the injector's good. They could still physically be bad. All of that to say, let's do one more test to procrastinate, learn, and then this all needs stripped down to nothing. Now we got to find parts somehow. So here's what we're going to do with a basic $6 meter is we're just going to ohm out a couple of these injectors. Now, if we wanted to do this thoroughly and precisely, we would come down to the injector harness. There's one right here for this bank, and there's another one back here somewhere-ish by the oil filter for the other bank. And we can find the pinout map for that, and we can actually ohm all of the injectors without unclipping them right from that. Now keep in mind, if you're doing this on an Alante, the forward pinout is slightly different than the back pinout. These are over under, these are at a diagonal. I know that doesn't make sense, but if you're doing this process, it will when you look up the pin map. Instead of doing that, I already have this one unplugged because we use the light on it. I'm just going to hit the injector right there. I'll probably hit this one right here. If two are bad, we've already got a no start situation. It's already pointing towards injectors, you know, no good, right? So what we're looking for is 12.5 ohms resistance, essentially, for these injectors. If it's less than that, they are failing electronically. We already think or feel like these have failed physically. If they're also failing electronically, there's really no point. We are tearing into this. So let me just set this up really quick, and we'll ohm this thing out and see what we got. Okay, we got this swanged over to the horseshoe mode on the lowest setting, and then really all I have to do is just touch one to one side, one to the other, and we want to see 12.5 on there. Less is bad. 11.2, so that is going down. 11.2. Let's try another one. Okay, got that unbuckled. That one's healthy. Okay, I don't know if I can get to the front one. We shall try. No, I don't think so. Try this one way back here. What would that be, number 2? That one's pretty good, which would make sense. I mean, they're all brand new, right? We do have one bad one though already. I can't reach those. I can't reach those. Let me try this one. Number 4. Bad. That is, well, it just jumped. No, there we go. Inop. Well, there we have it. I don't remember how many we tested, 4, 5, something like that. A couple bad, one really bad, like off the charts bad. So they're electronically failing via the solenoid, and they're probably gummed rock solid based on what we saw in the fuel tank, the fuel pump, and everything else. So we've got to dig into this. I'm going to lose light in about 50 minutes, but here is an incredible windfall I need to talk to you about, and then I just got to start throwing wrenches. Finding parts for these is like a good spanner wrench in a haystack. It's just not happening. Got up about 3:30, 4 o'clock this morning, started searching around. I had a feeling, intuition, we were headed this way. I could custom order intake gaskets for this, but they wouldn't be here until about 7 to 9 days. Found a website, started rooting around on it. It's really good information, and the guy claimed he had a bunch of parts. Well, I called him early this morning and said, hey, do you happen to have an upper intake for the intake plenum gasket? He says, of course I do. He says, really? He says, I am the Alante source. That's actually the website, I think. Here's the wild thing. I said, can you ship it to me overnight? He says, probably. I could probably make that happen. And he says, well, where are you located? And I told him. And he says, well, I'm in West Palm Beach, I think is what he said, which is like 45, 50 minutes from me. how does that happen? All the stars and everything aligned so I could drive over and get the one gasket. I know I'm going to rack pulling this apart to pull this off and get injectors. And he supposedly has like 30 Alantes already there, which again kind of proves whatever is left. I mean, a ton of them are wrecked, salvaged, burnt, gone, parts cars, you name it. Whoever has them, they're probably collectors sitting in garages or whatever, but it's just a miracle that we have parts and pieces within driving distance. So that gives me confidence to tear in. This is what that's going to look like. So obviously never done this before. I'm not going to go through every single part and piece. I just got to start throwing wrenches, but whatever that support thing's got to go. All of the vacuum piping, all of the electrical connections, front and back, the throttle cabling, the dipstick needs to come off over there. We've got to take the inlet and outlet fuel lines off of the rails itself. The accessories have got to be loose, so I got to take the belt off and either take them all the way off or lift them because the rail is pinched in between the idler and the power steering. Looks like that's probably a map sensor over there. That's going to have to be disconnected, and then I think there's cooling lines that go into that as well, but all that stuff needs to come off so I can rodeo out the fuel rails itself and the injectors. And at that point we can actually replace the injectors, inspect the old ones, and put everything back together. I'm losing light. I'm just going to get after it, see what I can get done tonight. I'm hoping I could at least get it all the way tore down and get the rails out. Might be rebuilding that in the motel late tonight, early tomorrow morning, which would be a win. We'll see. Let's get after it. By the way, this gem showed up via Cosmo. Super awesome guy. He drove it over on, I'm assuming his lunch break, and dropped it off, helped me pop it up. Just got done raining and got more storms on the way. This is going to be crucial for optimum production tonight. Much appreciated. Really awesome dude. I mean, all car people are, let's be honest, but I'll have to go get some lights in a little bit, but I'm just gonna see what we can get done without him. Guys got her out, and we still got some daylight left. That one's hung wide open, number 4. And this is what the engine looks like. I've been cleaning, vacuuming, wire brushing, scrubbing, brake cleaning, everything, using this towel. Cosmo dropped this off for me. Just cleaning it down as I go, making sure I don't drop any debris or anything in the intake, most importantly, but also just clean this thing up as we've got it apart. It's a really good opportunity to make that happen. Everything went well except for this, which I think is some sort of kickdown cable. I haven't been able to locate. I haven't spent much time on it yet, quite honestly. What this does or where it goes. There's obviously a C-clip missing off of that. We'll have to figure that out later, but right now I'm just focused on getting the injectors replaced. So I've got to take off these clips here on each of these. I'm going to lubricate the new injectors with basically you can use any silicone or Vaseline based lubricant to pop them back in, put the clips back on, clip all the wiring back in where it's at. There's obviously a reason. For example, this one was at that crazy angle. That's just how they fit in the engine. We don't want the connector to be faced any other way. So I'm probably going to do one at a time just to make sure that I get the connectors exactly the same as original, clean up the rails, wire brush them, brake clean them, and then we're going to put this back in and reverse the order. But most likely we're going to be running out of daylight before we get that far. I'm just trying to soldier through, see what we can get done before that happens. In the dark here, rebuilding the fuel rails. Got all of the injectors in, and I actually measured all of the values of the old injectors over here, and I'll show you that really quick. Not good. And in fact, with 24,000 miles, one of these was already replaced. Look at that. That would have been under warranty. Cadillac offered a 100,000 mile warranty, which was unprecedented at the time, and 50,000 more miles than the typical Cadillac, with the Alante and this one already had work done. So that's how susceptible to damage or corrosion or failure these injectors were here. And we had a bunch of bad ones. One hung open, a bunch of the solenoids not looking good. All of them are corroded except maybe two. This is going to be the way to go. You can't see it, but the spray pattern, there's 3 openings in these nozzles. There's only 1 opening in those nozzles, so we should have better performance and fuel economy out of these either. Unfortunately, whatever these are, Ultra Powers. They come with a tech card in each one. And I learned that these tech cards are absolutely identical. They copy paste these tech cards and throw them in with every single injector. Here's what you need to know. The resistance is not 12.5 on every single one of these. Some of them are much less. These are going to fail. When, I don't know, but we will be doing injectors once again on this Alante at some point in the near future. Okay, all of this is back together. I need to run to the hardware store once again and get some lights because I forgot, and then we're gonna keep working through the night, see what we can get put back together. Well, it is late, but the car is back together, and man, I got to tell you, it's actually been a lot of fun wrenching out in this driveway. You can do whatever you want to do. You don't have to have a fancy shop or a garage or a building or a pole barn or a carport. You could do the stuff in your driveway, in the backyard. It's just time, persistence, and patience. Let me show you what I got going on here though. So this bad boy is 100% back to stock, exactly how I found it, with obviously the exception I have cleaned, scraped, polished, wiped away, vacuumed, modified, repaired, rebuilt everything that I could cheaply and quickly as possible, putting it all back together. It looks great. Don't know if it runs yet. The only issue I really had was the snake belt here. You can see here it's a rib short. That's also been replaced, so it's had an injector and a belt on it, which is crazy at 25,000 miles. The 2 that I bought, one was a Wix, one was an AC Delco. They were 49s. I think they're an inch short. I'm gonna have to pick one up tomorrow. Maybe we can run that one for a little bit, but we're gonna have to wait until tomorrow to crank this. I know, but here's the thing. We busted into the fuel lines again. We have an opportunity for coolant and fuel leaks. I can't see nothing out here. So let's wait till the morning and see if this thing fires off. All of our diagnostics should pay off, hopefully, and the thing should just light immediately, and then we could just worry about brakes, which is a big unknown. Transmission, I don't know. What's that gonna do? We haven't even pulled the blood stick on that yet. And tires, and then we might be in a situation for a road trip. So I'm gonna pick up all my tools. I see some open slots, and call it a night, and we will see you guys in the morning. Well, good morning. It is what time is it? 5:30, 5:45, something like that. Checked out of the motel, got the rental loaded up here. Gonna grab some coffee next door and head right over to the Cosmo Cadillac. I want to get those tires off. We're gonna have to do it 2 at a time, but I want to be at the tire store right at 7 when they open. And we got to see if I did my job right. Today's the big day. Will that thing fire off? It should. As soon as daylight breaks here, so we can check for leaks. We're gonna crank on it, Still got some work to do on the car. Got to clean it up a little bit if all goes well, but we'll be test driving it. And hitting the road today is the big goal. I don't want to waste a minute of daylight. Let's get over there, get after it. Well, we're going to be working under the glow of the rental. Nothing new, kind of used to it. I'm going to go ahead and just start cleaning up some of the stuff, get the tent down. Weatherman says it's not supposed to rain. Start picking up my trash, organizing. Got to start packing stuff in the trunk of this, being optimistic. In about 30 minutes or so, we're going to try to get this lug nut lock off as soon as we can kind of see what's going on. Since that's in the air now, we'll do the back first, come back, we'll see if this thing fires, so on and so forth. Sun's just starting to peak up. It'll be another beautiful day. Been working on the top and cleaning. Got some more leather treatment on the seats. Got the top unbuckled over here. The back glass won't stay latched in there. I've been working on this piece right here to get this to stay. It's 60s here where I'm at, but back home it's 20, 25. It's actually snowing in Tennessee where we're headed. So I don't know if the heater works in this, but it'd be nice not to have wind blowing down the back neck. I was able to get in here with some rags and clean up that kind of-ish good. We might even run this through a wash if it runs. I don't know. Anyway, we're almost to the point we can knock these wheels off. Well, I have no idea what I'm doing or what's even happening. I just started pulling levers, found this thing, got this juiced up and actuating, got this thing up finally, and I pulled this cable because this latch wasn't latching. Sparks flew and a little motor ran, and this came up. And I'm thinking that's what I needed because this latch wasn't latching on anything. I don't know. And then, oh, that looks weird now. Oh, maybe not. So we're trying it again. That goes down. Do I have to unlock this now? See, we're just kind of... Oh. Okay. So that's the bottom one. We're just kind of making it up. Success! Finally got it. That motor, well, once I fixed the latches, I got all that lubed up. Finally get that clip in there, that motor pulls it down and sucks the seal in. The plastic on that motor is broken. I tightened it up as best as I could, but we have somewhat of a seal and seems to be acting like a windshield. Got this power seat working, that one is not. And it's not in an ideal position for me to fit in here and drive, but we'll keep monkeying with it. Well, let's see what happens. Oh, nice. That worked way better than I thought. It's just a left-handed thread remover thingy. Oh boy, that does not look good at all. And I don't have any of that stuff. Great. Well, a guy has been feverishly cleaning. I've wiped out all the door cards, sills, seats, dash, center console, everything like that. Got the center console all put back together. I had that pulled apart. Well, someone else did. Must have been for the fuses. Ran the mouse sucker through here, but we got daylight now. It is time to see if I did my job. Will this thing run after all that diagnostic work we did and everything else? Fuel pump, fuel filter, injectors, cleaned all the sensors. See what happens. I'm gonna rock the key. We gotta build fuel pressure again. No leak there. Gotta fill the rail again and the new injectors. Don't see a leak. Moment of truth this is, or lies. Bring the thunder. Well, it runs. Make sure we got oil pressure. Oil looked great, but you never know. Oh yeah, bunch. Check info center. Change engine oil. Fuel level very low. Okay, reset. Reset. October 28th, it says 11:55. Inaccurate. Sounds good. Huh. I'll be, yeah. Nice and smooth. Gotta be running on all 8. By the way, I figured out what that lever was. It wasn't anything transmission related. It's for the cruise control. Missing the pin there. Really cool dash. A little bit of an exhaust rattle and leak, but no big deal. By the way, I wire wheeled and brushed and scrubbed and brake cleaned these. I got to do another round over here. But I got them to rotate. They're not stuck anymore. And the car is cleaning up. Just been scrubbing. I got to vacuum it again. I'm crawling around in it. Anyway, she runs. Ha. Well, a guy just might have a shot of getting home after all. Uh-oh. I think the trunk is electric and it's not latching. It was, not anymore. All right, let's go pick up the rear tires, get those on, then we'll lift the front up, get those tires on. While it's dangling, let's change the oil on this thing. And then we got to test the transmission. We got some room in here to do some brake checks. Brake light went off, we got good pedal. About a 92% chance those calipers are seized. Great, we'll just take her as she comes. What was I doing? Oh yeah, we're leaving. Let's go get tires. Head back with rear tires. On the way to the tire store with the old front tires. On the way back from the tire store with new front tires. All the tires are back on. Dropping oil, buy one. Okay. Guys already got the filter tray popped in there. Oil topside, buy one. Buy one. Still just me. Anyway, Cadillac wants 10W30. Says so right on the cap, wherever I lost that. So I'm going to use the full synthetic high mileage by Valvoline. Now, this stuff is proven to maximize engine life in vehicles with 75,000 miles or more. Now, this car is low mileage. We know that, but it's been sitting forever, and you guys know what that does to the gaskets. This here has premium seal conditioners that treat and prevent leaks. That's what I'm after. I think it said 6.6 quarts. I should have enough here. We are to the point, once I toss this cap on, we got to test the shift machine, see if we can go forward. We really only need forward high gear. And breakage. Does it have brakes? We're going to have to kind of reseat the pads into the rotors there. If it's super bad, we'll have to tear it all apart, at least turn the rotors. And I don't know, maybe the calipers are not frozen. If we could get it off this tile and out of the concrete over here, that would be a win in itself. Well, let's fire this thing up again, let it come up to temperature, and then we're going to use the onboard diagnostics. Oil pressure, buy one! Got it. I remembered from working on that Cadillac 8765-4321. It's burned into my memory. If you hold off and warm on these Cadillacs, you'll enter into the diagnostics and it'll show you the codes. So we'll let this go through a heat cycle and we shall do the same. While it's warming up, let's go ahead and see if it moves. I was really gutsy and rolled the window down. Okay. Brake pedal jumps back. Brake light came on. Great. Going to neutral first. Drive. Yes. Firm. Reverse. Yep. No brake. There we go. Brakes are really spongy. Is it locked? I think the front left caliper, there it went again, is sticky. Might come around, might have to be cycled a bunch. Digital mirror works. Well, kinda. Let me help you. Boy, it is hot in here. It says low coolant, or AC, so that's not gonna work. Am I still in gear? Oh, I am. Oh, spun the tire. First burnout. Brakes are dragging. Is that smoke? Are we smoking? Horn does work. Okay, we got gears. Brakes are super questionable. We knew that was going to happen. I'm not sure what to do about that. Ignore it for now? Okay. I like the plan. Well, the guys had the rig running for quite a while. So let's see what it tells us here. That's body module. That's reverse light. Don't know what that is. Okay, P552. And that's it. I think that's EVAP 552, isn't it? Let me look it up. I was wrong. It's power steering circuit pressure. Okay, let's go for a little test cruise and just ease around a little bit, and before we turn our rental back in. See what I'm saying? Okay. Lots of grinding. It's moving under its own power though. Boy, these brakes. I don't know about that. Well, we got second gear. Come on, third. Come on, third. Come on, third now. There it went. Okay. Brake check. All the way down. Ooh, something just crunched. Oh, it's a crunchy caliper. It's a little nerve-wracking because they drag too much, they're going to get smoking hot, then you get brake fade as well. So, oh, look at. Oh yeah, I already can smell the brake pads. That is not good. I think we're going to be doing brakes. Shucks. Yeah, coming up to a stoplight here, right front caliper is smoking like crazy. I don't think it's gonna unstick. Great. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to call around and see if we can even get some of those parts. But we'll run a quick errand while we're out. Can't waste a trip. I gotta snag something up here quick. Back from running errands. That was successful. Not so much the test drive. It's running great. Seems to be shifting good, but both front brakes are dragging. I was able to find calipers at O'Reilly, but I gotta wait a couple hours for them to show up from Miami. brake lines, no one has them. Special order. We have to hope that the calipers are sticking and it's not collapsed rubber brake lines, because replacing the calipers obviously wouldn't do anything at that point. So anyway, you, my friend, are at end of watch. You've done well. You have done well. There we go. I will take the old one to the local VFW here for retirement. Well, let's get this jacked back up again. Got to get the calipers off. Hopefully they're not too hot. And I also need to take that battery back for a core, and the calipers also have cores, so I'm going to do it all at the same time. Well, guys, got her tore down. Here's what we're going to do. Got 3 different balls in the air here. I called around and found a company that can actually make brake lines. So I've got that off. We'll see if they can whip up something close. The calipers are out for my core. That's got to go back to O'Reilly. And I found a different company about 30 minutes to the west that can turn these for 25 bucks a piece. So we're going to go ahead and do that while we're in this anyway. It's just one more step taking up the bracket. No big deal. So I'm going to get the other side knocked off, and then we're pretty much spending the rest of the day driving around, getting this done, that done, and waiting for those. Sweet. All right, let's see what we can throw together. All right, this is that shop I found. They're whipping up some brake lines right now in the back on the spot. He said, give me 5-10 minutes. That's great. Rotors are getting turned right now, and then we'll head to O'Reilly and grab the calipers and head back and put it together. Well, we made her back once again. Really no magic here. You guys have seen me do this a billion times. Let's see, I'm gonna start with the line. We get the bracket on, rotor, then pads, caliper, tire. Rinse and repeat on the other side. I'm gonna crack the bleeder and let this just gravity bleed while I'm working on the other side. Then I'll close this and open the other side. Let's get after it. With a scoosh and 2 tickles of luck, we could be on the road this evening yet and get, I don't know, it'd be nice to get 150, 200 miles down at least, something like that. We got about 1,000 total. I'm gonna cut across to the Gulf side over towards Tampa and then up that way. I got some business to do along the way. Mazel, incorporate it somehow, right? Okay. Brakes are done. Cosmo Jr. showed up to say goodbye. What a nice dude. Huge thank you to him. Just overly kind. Great hospitality. Awesome car dude. And I said, hey, jump in. Go drive your daddy's car around. So he's going to take it for a test drive for me. Give me a punch list. It's been a long time since you've seen this thing move. Looks good. If he comes back and says it's pretty goodish, then I am returning my rental. We're gonna hit the road. By then it'll be dusk, and we'll get some miles down. Looking forward to that. Well, it was 37 million trips around southeastern Florida, running errands, getting parts, this and that. Rental is returned. We're in the car. It's running. This is it. No lifelines. Fully loaded, ready to rock. There's a car wash right down the road here and a fuel station. We need both, and then we're going to point this thing northwest and see what happens. Boy, that is a pretty sharp looking car. Ran out of minutes, didn't want to spend another $450. There's still some moss and stuff on there, but this thing should come right around with a good buffing. Unfortunately, the clear coat is wrecked on the deck lid and the hood from the car cover buffeting all those years, but the car cover also saved a lot of the rest of the car over the years. I also learned that it's leaked water forever on the inside. Everything is wet just from washing it. Filling this thing up, we're gonna hit the road. Oh, I was checking lights. We got running lights, headlights. The heads up thing says we got something going on in the rear. I don't know if it's a blinker or what, but we got running lights. That's good enough. It's too bad about this, but I got a guy that might be able to put some duct tape on that. That's me. All right, let's hit the road. Well, the guy is 125 miles in, something like that, 130 miles. I think I'm gonna try to put another 100 down. The car is running absolutely flawless, perfect. Actually has a lot of pep, even on the interstate. Transmission's shifting great. Brake light comes on and off here and there. Gonna pop the hood, check for leaks. Top off here. Fuel gauge is wonky, which I kind of figured it would be. I'm gonna look closer, but I don't see anything leaking. Snake belt staying on, it's staying cool. I think we're getting really good fuel mileage. Oh yeah, big time. That's fantastic. Well, the guy's gonna keep driving and driving until I find my way to Tampa, which is basically the other side of the state. The car is running flawlessly, getting 25 miles to the gallon. Guy even got the cruise control working. This is really odd for me, but the glow of the brake light indicator on the dash makes me feel comfortable and at home. I will see you guys in the morning, hopefully from the west side of Florida. Well, good morning. It took me 37 minutes to get the fuel to operate on that big screen over there. It's all touch button. What's happening with fuel pumps? Hey, you want a hot dog? No. You want a car wash? No. You want 2-for-1 Coca-Colas? No, I'm good. Rewards member? No. Sure you don't want a hot dog? I'm good. What about that car wash? Now, hey, if you buy those hot dogs, you can get $5 off a car wash. No. Do you want premium? No. Do you want supreme? No. Do you want basic? Yes. Then you have to lift the nozzle, then you still have to hit the button. Anyway, got some business taken care of this morning. You might not know this, but Vice Grip Garage merchandise, the official merchandise, comes out of Florida. It's all printed, warehoused, packed, shipped, everything right here. By the way, I should mention, the only place to get official Vice Grip Garage merchandise is vicegripgarage.com. There are some shiesty companies out there selling terrible rip-offs, very poor quality garments and stuff like that, and using my designs. Please don't fall for that. The only place is vicegripgarage.com. Anyway, we're gonna head up towards Atlanta. Keep on trucking. Car fired right up this morning, 0 issues. Didn't use any oil, not even a drop. Got her filled up. We're just gonna keep on moseying. Well, stopped to fill up and the dash came on and said low brake fluid. And sure enough, I'm losing it somewhere. Got the crawling around. And if we look over there, we have a blown out wheel, well, I was gonna almost said wheel cylinder, but it's 4-wheel disc. So that's not good, and it's dripping. So I'm gonna fill it up. We're about halfway to Atlanta. Let's see if we can make it there, see if I could find a rear one. Well, I called around all the part shops in the Atlanta area. It's all special order next week. So I called home base O'Reilly and had them order it. So it'll be at least home at some point next week, but we're gonna have to get creative with that. Crawled under it again and looked, it's dripping fairly good. But if, you know, we stay on the highway here, we should be able to make it the rest of the way. I just think it's such good fuel mileage. Then hopefully we have enough in the reservoir to mow it down getting off the exit. We'll deal with it later. Well, we made it to Atlanta. Other than that leaking caliper, haven't had any issues today. It's been actually pretty nice. Not throwing wrenches every 26 feet. Gonna catch a few hours of sleep, and in the morning I'm gonna go see some friends for a little bit, and then we are going to hit the road, and I think we're gonna try to catch a really, really good looking museum, automobile museum. Haven't been to this one, but the photos on the interwebs look just incredible. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll see you guys in the morning. Well, good morning. First thing I'm noticing is the big puddle of brake fluid under the captain's side rear. We can probably get a vice grip and just clamp that line off if we need. Gonna check the oil this morning, check that brake fluid, grab some coffee, fill it up. We got, we're in actually South Atlanta right now. I think we got 350 miles or something like that still. I don't know. Quite a bit, but this will be the final push today, and we've got a fun stop to make as well. Let me squeeze my luggage in. We're gonna hit it. Let's see, rock the car. Oh yeah, we got half juice there. That's fine. And still hasn't burned a drop of oil. This engine runs so good, just smooth. So I think we're fine. Leaking brake system, questionable belt that I still haven't purchased. That's the wrong one, probably gonna fly off any second. The bigger concern is I got no heat. I think the blend door actuator isn't working. The heater resistor and auto stuff is working because the fan speed will move around, but it just blows 60 degrees. But a guy's got his flannel. You know, what else does he need? I think it's like 23 degrees back home right now, 20. Anyway, so I'll fire this bad boy up. Good morning, Alante. Oh yeah, piece of cake. Why would I think it wasn't gonna start? Oh good, just started raining. We do not have wiper blades. We'll have to stop and tap. maybe snag some of them. Well, the guy has made it. We're gonna fix this. Not only is it whistling super annoyingly right behind my head, but it's blasting cold air down my neck. Found this stuff. It's a Gorilla. It's like a rubberized waterproof seal thing. Boom. Look at that. Even matches. And then I got the cheapest wiper blades they had. We'll toss those on. Some spare brake juice, just in case for the stop laters. Oh man, you can't even see the patch. It's great. Well, we made it. Savoy Automobile Museum. This place is massive. Perfect timing too, if I'm being overly honest. I'm about to pee my pants. This coffee is just running right through. You know, Emmitt Smith versus second string defense kind of deal. This place is massive. This ought to be great. Georgia Museums Inc. owns this museum and 3 others, and they are a 501c non-profit. Boy, someone must have made some lofty donations of this bad boy. I've been walking for 13 minutes. We're getting there though. This is supposed to have some really high-end stuff. We might not be able to go too deep in there if I get too scared. You know what I mean? Well, that answered my question. Cool of them to do that. A lot of names. Oh boy, this stuff looks really expensive. Oh, there we go. Wow. Well, I got something special for you here. I ran into Tom. This is Tom. He's the curator here. And he said, hey, I want to show you something real quick if you got a minute. And we're back in the storage building where there's 49 lifts.
49 of the bin pack triple lifts.
Got triple lifts. And I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek. We're probably going to have to come back someday. There are toys. It's like Matchbox cars when you're a kid. You're just stacking them up. Let's take a quick walk and check this stuff out. I had a briefcase when I was a kid you could stack your Matchbox cars in. This kind of reminds me of that. My goodness. So a lot of these are owned by Savoy. Some are on loan. Is that right?
Some are on loan. So most everything you see on the lifts are part of the Savoy Museum collection. And there will be some cars. The way we rotate cars in and out of exhibits, and we do that on a monthly basis, we have cars coming and going. So there's a lot of logistics that go in to our vehicle storage building. And so there'll be a couple of cars here that are in storage for the time being, that are preparing to go back to their rightful homes because they've come off of an exhibit.
Sure.
And then we've got cars that are being condition reported and being prepared for an upcoming exhibition. So
awesome.
Always moving parts kind of back in this area.
Wow. One of the nicest Edsels I've ever seen. Man, there's a little bit of everything. You got
A little bit of everything. It's very eclectic.
wow.
And of course, every car has a story, so
Right.
you guys can sit here and go through and tell stories about every single one of them. A lot of those stories, as you know, come from the people who own them and care for them and provide for them and enjoy them. So
Lots of Studebakers. I like that.
yeah,
That's
we've got
cool.
some great collection. We did a Studebaker exhibit earlier this year. We kind of partnered with the Studebaker Museum up in South Bend and brought some of their collection down and added it in with ours and did a special exhibition.
Very cool. Well, that's what that's supposed to look like. Mine's a little rougher. Convertibles, coupes, 4-doors, sedans. Look at the Jeep wagon.
So the way we look at it is we literally have a mission statement here at the museum where we talk about connecting people to the cultural diversity of the automobile. It doesn't matter if you're 5 or 95. We all have memories. We all have connections to cars, and it doesn't matter what make, model, year, era, style. It all has that shared passion of what car culture is. And that's what we showcase here at Savoy.
It looks like you're doing a swell job. PT Cruiser. Wow.
An all-original 2002 PT Cruiser, a wood grain limited edition, 2,000 original miles on it.
Slick. Whew. Corvettes. I got to get out of here. I'm going to want one. Beautiful. So this is a Ferrari exhibit that they're getting ready to put out. They're swapping it Monday so the public will see it Tuesday, but this is how they stage everything and get them cleaned up and ready. I was looking at some of the stuff back here. They got danged old race cars, big old Chrysler up there, Cadillac, but look at this. A bright red Cadillac Allante with 2,000 miles, 2,500?
2,500 original miles. It is a survivor.
Look at that. That's what they're supposed to look like. Clean. Is that top for sale? Mine's got a hole in it.
Unfortunately, that being a survivor, that was staying in the car.
Yeah. Well, that was really nice of time. We're back to walking around, and this is the Duesenberg Gallery. Lots of them in here. Well, that was a nice little stop. Got me another cup of coffee. Last big push. Let's see if we can get up into Tennessee. Well, we should be getting in. Well, actually it'd be after sunset, but we got the headlamps. We're all set. In fact, we have the Twilight Sentinel package. Automatic headlamps. Mm-hmm. Well, late last night, Cosmo the Cadillac pulled itself into Vice Grip Garage here, all the way from Florida to Tennessee after a very, very long nap. We finally have a trip and odometer that works, 983 miles, all said and done. We had to throw quite a bit at it to get here, and it still needs a lot of work, but I think this car has a lot of potential, and it's quirky and cute. I like the thing. It's comfortable. It has cruise control, for Pete's sake. So coming up next, we got to fix the rear brakes. We got to go through the ABS. We got to go through some of the other digitals. And the thing I'm looking forward to the most is the paint correction and polishing on this thing. I think this thing is really going to shine. But you're going to have to wait to see sometime in the future. Thanks, guys, for watching. Appreciate you so very much. And we'll see you very soon.